Have you ever looked at a t-shirt and thought to yourself, why is it so plain? There's no collar, there's no buttons, there's just a hole for your head and then 2 sleeves for your arms and a body. And it might be the simplest piece of clothing that you own, but that simple piece of clothing is doing a lot more than you think it is. Why is the neckline shaped like that? And why are the sleeves, why are they so short? And how did something that started off as underwear become one of the most ubiquitous pieces of clothing in the entire world? Now see, the funny thing is the t-shirt, it was never meant to be seen in the first place. And today it can be an undershirt, a work shirt, a gym shirt, a political statement, or even a band poster. And quite literally the only thing that somebody wears for an entire week. But originally, it was just underwear. So before you learn how to tailor all of your t-shirts, let's back it up a little bit here. Let's learn about why it's constructed the way that it is and why a lot of the decisions that were made at that time are still applicable today. But first, let's talk about the name. It's called a t-shirt because you lay it flat and it kind of sort of looks like a T for the most part. Now before the modern t-shirt existed, a lot of guys wore a full-on undergarment that kind of sort of resembled a long underwear, only it had buttons all along the front. It was called a union suit, and a union suit was basically just a top half and a bottom half, and they were connected. Again, kind of like long underwear. And yeah, it kept people warm, but at the end of the day, it really wasn't all that convenient. So what a lot of guys did is they just cut those 2 pieces, they cut them in half. And that made them easier to wear and easier to wash and easier to, do other stuff, like painting the town brown. And the upper half, it slowly over time started to become a lightweight undershirt, and then that's where the t-shirt was born. And early versions were by no means stylish at all. It had a very specific purpose. It was made to, absorb sweat and body oils from your skin without those sweat and oils getting onto the outside garments that you're wearing. And that's why the design is so simple and basic. There's no enclosures, no buttons or any of that. The t-shirt, it was supposed to just disappear under your actual clothes. The neck had to be wide enough in order for you to be able to put your head in it, and the sleeves had to be long and short enough at the same time without getting all bunched up underneath whatever it was that you were wearing. In the fabric, it had to be soft enough in order for you to be able to wear it for long periods of the day and not get all itchy and uncomfortable. Now let's talk a little bit about the fabric. Most t-shirts are made from a jersey knit, and that's going to be a woven fabric, kind of similar to jeans and dress shirts, where you have individual threads that are passing through each other, up and under each other. And a knit fabric is made from 2 loops, fruit loops. And those loops are gonna give that individual garment some nice stretch to it without having to add any kind of elastane or spandex or anything like that. The fabric, it's not stretching because of the fabric in and of itself, it's stretching because of those loops. They're opening up and shifting. And that makes a jersey knit perfect for something that you're gonna be able to pull over your head and take off. It's gonna have some stretch. You can stretch the neckline a little bit or push your arms through the sleeves, and that t-shirt is gonna be able to bounce back to its original shape. But there's a problem with that. As you start to venture into a lot of the cheaper t-shirts, you're gonna notice that you don't have that benefit. Because some t-shirts, what they'll do is they'll stretch and they'll stay stretched. And that mattered a lot when that t-shirt was supposed to be acting as underwear. Now, why are a lot of t-shirts white if their primary use in the beginning was to be used as an undershirt? Well, a lot of it was practical. It was easier to boil it and to use bleach and to clean it a lot more aggressively than you'd be able to with a garment that has any kind of dye or color in it. Because remember, in the beginning, these garments, they sat directly on the skin in order to absorb odors and sweat and body oils. And so they had to be able to stand up to a lot of harsher, more aggressive cleaning treatments. And white didn't require any extra dyes or anything like that. So when they were being constructed and manufactured, they were a lot cheaper. So at the end of the day, there was really no spur of interest in order to make that t-shirt visually appealing at all. I mean, nobody was gonna see it. That's why they didn't have any graphics or any logos or branding or anything like that, because back then, guys, they didn't need any kind of logos as far as, the undershirt went in there. And then the military came along, and they actually played a really, really big role in making the t-shirt is what it is today. Now, the neckline is one of the biggest reasons why the modern t-shirt looks the way that it does, because the collar, it's not a traditional collar like you would see in a dress shirt, obviously. It's usually gonna be a separate piece of rib knit that's gonna be attached to the body of the garment. And that rib knit, it's gonna be stretchier than the main portion of the garment, than the main portion of the fabric, which allows it to go over the head much easier and then snap back into place, into position. And that's also the reason why the neckline is one of the first pieces of the garment to fail on more cheaper t-shirts. I mean, it's taking constant abuse when you're taking it off and putting it on and grabbing it by the collar, throwing it in the washing machine, putting it in the dryer. Over time, that rib knit, it's gonna start to lose its natural elasticity and its shape, and it's not gonna be able to do its job anymore. And if that collar band is too long, it's not gonna be able to pull the neckline inward enough, and if it's too short, it's gonna pull it in too much to the point where it's gonna get all wavy and puckered. Now, a good collar has to be able to stretch just enough to go over the head comfortably while also being able to go back to its original shape and making sure that the neckline of the t-shirt, it lies nice and flat. And that balance, it's a very, very delicate balance, which it definitely shows itself when you start sewing. Now let's talk a little bit about those sleeves. The reason why the sleeves are the length that they are is because they had to go under whatever overgarment they had on comfortably. They couldn't get all bunched up. And if the sleeves were longer sleeves, they would do just that. They would get all bunched up, be really uncomfortable, and nobody would wear them. And the shape of that sleeve, it also came from construction efficiency too. Because you see, most t-shirts, when they're constructed, they use what's called a set-in sleeve. And that's where the sleeve is sewn into a curved armhole, which is great because it's going to allow that sleeve to sit more comfortably and naturally around your shoulder. And the exact position of that shoulder sleeve, it matters a lot, because in the event that it is where it should be or even a little bit higher, it's going to give that t-shirt a nice, really good, modern fitted look. And if it hangs too far down the shoulder, then it's going to have an oversized look, which I completely understand is definitely a style choice. But in the beginning, when they were creating t-shirts, they didn't want none of that. And this right here, this is where the history of t-shirts and modern fashion, they start to kind of go off in different directions. Because like we said, that original t-shirt, it was supposed to sit very closely to the body, underneath your clothing. And modern t-shirts, they can be slim, they can be fitted, they can be cropped, they can be boxy, and all those different shapes are gonna make that t-shirt look completely different on you. And like we said, the military was able to help normalize the wearing of t-shirts, but here's where it really takes an interesting direction. It was because movie stars started wearing normal t-shirts. They made them more of an acceptable outerwear. Because in the early years, if you went outdoors and you were wearing a t-shirt, just a basic white t-shirt, everybody pretty much thought that you were in your underwear. And then James Dean and Marlon Brando happened, and well, the rest was history. It started looking rebellious and masculine, which was a really big shift at the time, because it went from something that men only wore underneath their outer clothes and it was never meant to be seen, to something that they wore to accentuate and show off their chest and their arms and their shoulders. And then the t-shirt became a blank canvas. Once modern screen printing became a lot cheaper, companies could print whatever it was that they wanted on those t-shirts, and so branding and advertising just completely took off. And that completely changed the purpose of the t-shirt, because it went from something that was not meant to be seen to something that was very meant to be seen. A graphic t-shirt could tell people what types of movies you liked, or what types of bands you liked, or even what types of sports teams that you represented. Shout out to all my Vikings fans out there. We're all gonna cry together this season, just like we do every year, and we have for the last, I don't know, 30 years. Band t-shirts became especially important because they became something that was more of a representation that you were there, you were part of the experience, you were able to get a souvenir, you were able to get some merchandise. Later on, vintage band tees, they became really, really valuable. And record labels also realized that that's actually one of the easiest ways to turn your customers into basically a walking billboard. Put a logo on that chest and then sell that shirt, and suddenly, boom, advertising. The graphics also helped shift the t-shirt away from its underwear origins. Because once you print a large design on the outside, people, they're not seeing underwear anymore. They're seeing a complete outfit. Now, as far as sizing goes for t-shirts, there's no one universal standard in regards to all companies have agreed that this is what a size large is going to be, and this is what a size medium is going to be. Which is the reason why I'm a huge proponent of learning how to tailor your own clothes, especially your t-shirts, and it's way easier than you think it is. It's in the next video. I'll see you over there. SD out. See ya.